Welcome to the channel, guys. Corey here, Driveway Demons, and today we are looking at the Ford Explorer Sport. So today we're looking at the Ford Explorer Sport, which makes 365 horsepower and 350 foot-pound of torque. So the Ford Explorer Sport has less towing capacity than the Durango or the Tahoe. It's at 5,000 pounds, whereas the Durango's at like 7,100 plus pounds. And that's because of the V8 having more torque. The Durango has 390 foot-pounds and the Tahoe has 380 foot-pound of torque. However, the Durango has 360 horsepower and the Tahoe has 355 versus the 365 of the Ford Explorer Sport. Now, while it can't tow as much, it's much quicker because it only weighs 4,900 plus pounds, whereas a Durango weighs over 5,300 pounds and it's trimmed with the 5.7 Hemi, and the Tahoe weighs over 5,600 pounds. The 0 to 60 I got in the Durango RT that I did with Keith last week did 6.8. It said this could do 6.1 and a quarter mile at 14.7. So this should actually be faster than the Durango RT because it is 400 pounds lighter and has about 5 more horsepower. And this should be noticeably faster than the Tahoe, considering it's over 600 pounds lighter and has 10 more horsepower. So this is actually my mother's Ford Explorer Sport, but she doesn't drive it like she should. She just really should get on it more often. Facelift for 2016. It's much better than the older versions, which was actually an older version in the parking lot. And my mom's Hello Kitty front license plate. It's so bad. It gives the car like 30 more horsepower. Overall, it's a much different SUV from its appearance than the one before it in 2015. So the 2016 and 17 is a big facelift, and the front and rear fascia completely different than the 15 and previous models, and I like it much better. But let's go for a ride. Let's see if it can do 0 to 60 in 6.1 like it's advertised. So here we are in the Explorer. I got my brother with me from Pennsylvania, and thanks to him for bringing the car out to me to review. My mom came out with my brother to visit, family time, and clean the car up so we could do a nice review on the Explorer. In comparison to the Durango, since I own one, did a review on one, and I got the SRT coming, this vehicle has a completely different feeling on the inside. It's definitely really tight in sport mode. The steering is great. It doesn't have the feeling of, say, an SRT Jeep, but it's got a tightness to it where it feels planted. I'm using the paddle shifters. Now, these paddles are a little bit beefier and they're not as high as the Durango or the Jeep or the Hellcat. They're more tucked behind the steering wheel, a little harder to reach, but they feel good when you press them. They actually shift really nicely. This has got a 6-speed automatic. What do you think?
I think it rides really nice.
There's those turbos. You can feel them spool up. You can feel the torque gradually pull up around 2,500. It has a nice pull to it. And we're going to see if it can beat the Durango RT's time of 6.9 seconds.
There's a reason this vehicle was picked for most police vehicles because of the way it actually sits, and the cornering ability and the acceleration for this is actually really good.
Yeah, it's really good for an SUV. It's not quite in the SRT range, but then again, it's a lot cheaper. This vehicle goes for the high 40s, low 50s, depending on how you spec it out. I would like to see Ford set up the Raptor engine in the Explorer, the new Raptor engine with the twin turbo, 450 horsepower. That would be perfect for this. And maybe Ford might do that because it still stays with Ford's efficiency, because they're taking a different approach than Dodge. Instead of using V8s, they're using high efficient V6s and 4-cylinders and using their EcoBoost lineup. They're using it in the Mustang, they're using it in the Ford Focus RS, they're using it in the Explorer, they're using it in the Raptor.
The engine base is pretty much big enough to actually handle the size of the Raptor's SVT engine.
Yeah. It definitely has that room for sure. The turning radius on this is actually really good. It turns sharp. The way the turbo spools up and the way the exhaust and engine sound, it doesn't sound like a puny V6. It actually has a good throatiness to it. You can hear it. So the Explorer Sport does feel sporty. It's planted. It's a very soft ride. It rides about the same as the SRT Cherokee does in street mode. It's got that stiffness, but it's comfortable. And it handles. As we're braking into the turns, it has a much better steer in than even the SRT Jeep does, to be honest. Oh yeah, this actually handles better than the Jeep does. It's better than the Jeep SRT or the Durango RT. I'm literally hugging the curb. I'm gonna hit the curb if I turn any sharper and there's no body roll. That's very surprising. My brother's right here and witnessed it. I could have hit the curb. I could have kept turning. Whereas with the Durango,
should have gone faster.
Right. So in the Durango RT, I was turning that corner and it felt like there was enough body roll where I didn't want to accelerate anymore. And even with the SRT Jeep in track mode, I still felt some body roll, but it handled the corner really well. Whereas this had a little bit of oversteer and we were going to hit the curb if I had kept turning sharper. This really does handle well in the corners. I am surprised. So it's very surprising to see the handling capabilities of Explorer. I wasn't expecting that at all. Okay, so we're gonna stop and do 0 to 60 right here, even though we shouldn't. Okay, ready? 1, 2, ready, go. Oh, that turbo spool, you can feel it. 60.
Yeah, you beat the time.
Holy crap.
6 seconds.
6 seconds flat. Show it right there to the camera. 6 seconds flat.
Not bad, not bad.
So they advertise 6.1 0 to 60. We did 6.05, which is 1/10 faster, which is not surprising because it is all-wheel drive. It's really the weight. It's got the same horsepower as a Durango, 5 horsepower more, but it's the weight. It weighs 400 pounds less than the Durango. So 0 to 60 in 6 seconds flat, basically. This thing's fast for an SUV, like really fast. It's faster than the Raptor, it's faster than the Rebel, the Durango RT. It's not as fast as the SRT Jeep. It did 5 flat. It's only 1 second behind the SRT Jeep. Turns these corners so well, the turn-in. Oh, that turbo, you can feel it. Yikes, you can just feel it. It just wants to go. You can tell it's my mother's car though, because there's a picture of my son. It's her screensaver. So you really feel the torque and horsepower in the Explorer because of how light it is. And I'm gonna show you how much room is in this car after we go for a drive here, but there's a lot of room in this car. It handles well and it's really quick. And the weight is really playing a factor not only in the acceleration, but also in the handling. If you didn't know, it's got electronic controlled brake pedal and gas pedal. You can see I'm pressing the button right here and lifting the brake pedal up. That's really cool right there, really cool. Adjust your steering wheel with this button on the side. The steering wheel is completely electronic. I'm moving it there just like I showed you with the pedals. So when I'm driving the Explorer right now, I don't feel like I'm in a heavy truck. It feels a little bit like a car because it's so light. Oh my, that turbo just spools, you can feel it. Oh, it's pulling me all the way back. I love that. I love that. The paddles are right here. Ford has done an awesome job with setting this up. I would love to see the Explorer Sport with the Raptor engine. The response on the shifters is pretty quick. I'm gonna go into manual mode right here by hitting the downshift paddle, which is on the left side over here. And it shifts right over. It's very quick, but it's not abrupt. It's not rough when it shifts. You really can feel the turbo spool at 3,000 RPM. It just pulls and puts you right in the seat. Oh, turbo spool. It's a V6, but it's fast. Bald eagles flying out them tailpipes. America. Definitely. So here we are going to do a walk around of the Explorer and show you can just see the back has got a lot of room. I love the carbon fiber and titanium trim. Speakers are actually right here for the tweeters, and the actual woofers are down here. It's a really nice setup. You just fold the seat down and lift it up like you would in the Durango, and you'll be able to make your way to the back seat just like this. Really comfortable seats. Plenty of room to have 2 more people sit here, but if you want to get rid of the seats and have more cargo room, I'm going to show you how we can do that. So I like how with the Fords, you can just put your foot under the bumper and it opens the tailgate. It opens the tailgate as soon as you put your foot under there to open up. Now with the Explorer, look at the buttons over here. Normal, fold, right is up and left is down, or both. And you can also stow the seats. Look what happens when you fold them. Fully automatic. And then when you want to stow them, you hit the stow button right here. And it flips the seats completely around, giving you a lot of cargo space. A whole lot of cargo space. And then I can go back here and put this seat back. And look how much room you have. 5 people can sit in this SUV, and you have all kinds of cargo space. Now, let's say you want to fold one of the seats but keep one up. You go up for right hand, or you go down for left hand, or middle for both. Let's just put this seat down right here on the right hand side. We're going to fold that. Make sure it's on right hand and go to fold. So as you can see, it's folding just the right seat, which is really cool. Now, you can't stow just one seat. They both have to be stowed. So if you want to have full cargo, you can only stow them together, not one at a time. So then you'd go ahead over here and you could go to both. You'll fold the other one. And then once you fold this one, you'll then hit the stow button and it'll put them away. So you can go ahead and you can access the camera at any time. So here we go. Here's the camera in the front of the car. Then you can see a wider view, and it shows you up here what kind of view you have on the camera. So you can see when you're driving how close you are to someone else. I like it on the first one right here. You can see while you're driving perfectly. It just shows what's going on in front of you. That's pretty awesome. Here's your parking sense. If you turn that off, you won't know if you're going to hit someone, so I always would leave that on. I would never change that. Your basic climate control, your seat heaters, and AC on the seats, which are your seat vents. Temperature and fan are down here. Climate control for driver and passenger. Up here's your entertainment menu where it's on right now. We can go to settings. Just your basic settings, your clock, time, date. Outside air temperature you can have on or off. You can do a 24-hour or 12-hour clock. Time zone. Here is your display for your auto dim, your modes, day or night. It's on auto, so it won't be as bright because it's not very bright outside right now. You can edit your wallpaper, and this is just your basic sound settings. It does come with the Sony surround sound system, which is really awesome. This is your wallpaper, but I'm not going to change it because my mother definitely would be upset. We go to the vehicle settings. You can go to ambient lighting. So now you look at the cup holder, it's red. I can change the color on the dashboard, touchscreen display, whatever color I want. You can change the brightness of the colors. This is low, and then this is high as it goes. Now I'll show you on the actual screen how to do that. So you can see these are the colors right here. We'll pick red, and we'll pick as bright as you can go. And then you look at the cup holder lights. So you can see the red down there on my shoe. Red lights down there. And then we're changing it to green, purple. It's really cool how you can change the ambient lighting, and you can turn them off with the off button right here or on. So you have full control over ambient lighting. You have a vehicle health report, which will tell you right here, automatic reminders, mileage interval for your oil change. You can run a vehicle health report at any time. You can set your door keypad right here, which we're not going to mess with at all because we end up locking her out. That's not good. Camera settings, we can go in here to check out the camera settings. You can do enhanced park aids on or off and the rear camera delay on or off. So you can also enable valet mode here, so you can, lock people out with a 4-digit PIN when you're dropping your vehicle off for service or taking it to a shop. Your basic settings are right here for your system, your voice control, and your media player. Nothing spectacular, just basic settings here. You can set it to kilometers or miles, English or Spanish or French. Basic touchscreen setup. Temperature can be in Celsius or Fahrenheit. You can install applications, stuff like that. You can also have voice control set up for the car. This is really, really awesome. You can have command prompt. You can set up for Bluetooth and basic stuff like that. Your phone and your wireless and internet settings will be right here. Nothing too crazy. Most vehicles nowadays have that. So we can go back to the main menu. Here is your information center for services, travel link, and alerts, calendar and apps, and where am I on your GPS. So this shows you fuel prices, where you are, weather delays, alerts. Travel link is phenomenal. I have it in my Hellcat. It's in the Durango. It's in the Jeep. Most vehicles have it nowadays, so it's a really awesome feature to have. And this is where your screensaver is, and you can basically connect your phone. It tells you the temperature and which way you're facing, stuff like that. So here's the dash cluster, and we can go through and see distance to empty. We're driving an intelligent 4-wheel drive, normal mode, tire pressure, or your tack. So we can go over here to different display modes, trip, fuel economy, driver assist, which will go to that, traction control, blind spot, cross traffic alert, cruise control, pre-collision, basic settings here for the vehicle, your oil life, lift gate, remote start. You can change a lot of stuff in here that we're not going to get into, your percentage, your oil life. You can enable, disable the power lift gate. So your My Key and Create a Key is right there. Your display setup, for your gauge display, you can do fuel and tack or just fuel gauge. Tire pressure, you can take that off or on. Navigation's over here, and it also shows the speed limit on the streets that you're driving on. You can also set it to phone or entertainment, but I like it best on navigation. The gauge cluster is really awesome, as you have your speedometer in the middle and everything else you can have around it. You can have your navigation tell you the speed limit over here, and you can have your tack over there with your range for your fuel. Tweeters are in here, woofers are down below, and it's just a really refined look with the carbon fiber and everything inside the car. So Ford has a different approach to the SUV market. Instead of using a V8 like the Durango or the Tahoe, they have opted to use their efficient turbo V6, very similar to the one in the SHO, and also the one they're using in the Raptor, which is a twin turbo. They also have the 2.3 liter in their RS. Their turbo V6s and 4-cylinders are very efficient. They even have a turbo V6 in their Ford GT. So Ford has engineered their turbo engines very well, and I was shocked to see the 0 to 60 at 6 seconds flat. That's an entire second faster than the Tahoe or the Durango RT. This vehicle the Explorer Sport is actually really fast, and that's no joke. 6 seconds flat 0 to 60 means I could probably get 14.5 or 14.6 out of it at the quarter mile. That is wicked fast for a bone stock family SUV, although this is the Sport model. The handling in the Explorer Sport is actually better than it was in the Durango RT or even the Jeep SRT in track mode. They both had a little bit of body roll, the Durango RT and the Jeep SRT. So in the Jeep SRT, even though it was in track mode and handles well, I could still feel a little bit of lateral roll in the body and the steering when I'm turning in, and had a little bit of understeer just like the Durango RT did. But the Explorer Sport actually turns in sharp, and you can feel minimal lateral movement in the body. This is a very rigid and very tight handling SUV. I was blown away by it. There are a few things I don't like about it. I wish it was a little bit louder exhaust. I wish that it came with an 8-speed, not a 6-speed, but Ford have done a great job, and it's really an awesome SUV. So guys, don't forget to subscribe, share this channel with everyone. Got a lot more content coming. I'm gonna be at the YouTube call out in Maryland on October 28th. I also called out Paul at Family Cruising, so we're gonna be doing some videos together when I go to Chicago with my SRT Durango, as it's getting sponsored by GT Haas with an exhaust system. But once again, subscribe. I'm Corey with Driveway Demons. Remember, have fun and be safe.